Hello, welcome to another episode of the Blue Mountain Makes podcast. I'm MarylinnS, coming to you as always from the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, where I live with my dogs, which are all over this room, and you're probably going to hear them. This is the second time I've tried recording this. Yeah, they're being very clingy lately, and my husband's out of the house for an appointment, so I'm trying to squeeze this in while he's gone, and it's not going super well, so if this is choppy, that's why. So today I have two finished objects, a handful of whips, and some acquisitions, so let's go in that order. I am wearing my first finished object. This is the outline tee by Jessie Maed Designs. It is knit in drop saffron. It's 100% cotton, super cheap. I think this whole shirt costs like $7, maybe, probably less. I don't even know how many balls I used, maybe four or five, not very many. It's very large. She's real big. I don't mind it necessarily because it is perfect for a really hot day, which is finally we've had a super cool summer so far. Today's a hot day, so it's a good day to wear this. I find, I was a little nervous about the whole outline deal. I don't generally wear, not that this is revealing, but I'm usually t-shirt and jeans in the summer, so this was a little outside of my comfort zone, but I'm really glad that I have worn it. I have worn it out. I have received compliments on it. I feel good in it. Yeah. And, I'm wearing a bralette underneath of it, but if originally I had said I was going to make this for a bathing suit cover-up, which it would be really cute for, but I think it's too cute for that, so I'm also wearing it as a t-shirt. I'm going to make a second one. This is the size 3, and my gauge might have been a little off, but not by much, so I think next time I'll make a 2, probably. This pattern's intended to be oversized, but it's just, the thing I don't necessarily like about it is it's a V-neck, but you can't really tell it's a V-neck because if I pull it down to where it fits the way it's supposed to, everything's out. So the way I have it now, it's, kind of off the shoulders a little bit, plus in the back, it kind of scoops out in the back, which again, it's cute, it's nice. I do wear it tucked a little bit in the front. Oh, and I added 2 extra inches to the body. So this is a super cropped pattern. Super cropped pattern. I added 2 inches and it's still a little bit cropped, but it's just long enough that I can do kind of a French tuck into the front of my waistband. If you hear plastic sounds, I now have 2 dogs in cones instead of just one. 2 of them got into a fight last week and it was really bad, and the little one had to have 14 staples put in, so it's been a little bit stressful. Anyways, so anytime the other dogs get up to play or anything, she kind of gets scared and comes sits at my feet. Rightfully so, because I would be scared too. Jessie Maed has a lot of really good patterns. Most of them, I find they're either really oversized or they have negative ease, which I think is kind of funny. Not a whole lot of in-betweens, but they're super good for beginners. If you've never made a sweater or a bralette or whatever, then she's a good place to start because she really makes it step by step. So there's no question about, what did she intend with that? How should I do this? She gives little reminders all the way through. So she's really good at that. So if you're looking for a place to start and you're interested in her pattern, she would be a really good one. And my second finished object this week is also a Jessie Maed pattern. So this is the Ripple Bralette. It's my second time making this pattern. This one is a size 3. First time I made it, I did a size 4 based off of my bust measurements and kind of the intended fit of this. It is very much like a negative ease pattern again. Things I wish I would have done differently. The straps aren't super long. So I haven't woven in any of my ends, obviously, because I think I am going to have to take the straps off and lengthen them and then reattach them because they're just short enough to be annoying. So this is my hand spun. Yay! And I dyed it myself, so I learned a lot. This is the first time I've used my hand spun in a project, and it was really interesting going through because kind of, as you're spinning, especially a beginner like me, I'm that might be a little thinner than I intended in that one section, but it'll be fine, right? It'll all work out in the ply. it doesn't always work out in the ply, and there are some sections that are they're like, I was going for a fingering weight, and I more or less achieved that, but there are some spots where it's like lace thread. It's very fine. This is Rambouillet, and it's my first time spinning Rambouillet, and it's like just fluff. It's like a cloud. It's so fine, so soft, and it was hard to do. I was kind of surprised because I had just knocked out like a merino before I had started this spin, and it, you know, I've gotten proficient enough that it's not hard necessarily for me to do a merino, or I don't like Corriedale. People really like it. I don't, but I find those fibers easier to work with. And then I got to this and I was like, this is so fussy. It was so fussy. So it took me a really long time. I ended up doing like 2 other spins while I was working on this because it was very annoying. And then I also dyed it. I was kind of going for a deep purple, but I got raspberry ice cream instead. And I'm okay with that. I do have somewhere. Dogs. Oh. I do have this much left, so this is what it, looked like in a cake. It was 4 ounces. I don't know how many yards I got. I'm really bad about counting them. Or this one, I think I did count, and I didn't trust my count. I think it said like 500 yards, and that seemed like way too much, so I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what it looks like. It was very pretty. It was nice to knit with, but like I said, it's definitely a learning experience knitting with your hand spun if you're just spinning and you've never done anything with it, which like I have a whole bag sitting next to me of not so great hand spun that I've never used. So yeah, like look how fine this is. It's just it's a learning curve, right? It's a learning curve. Where did it go? I don't know. Like I went from, this is what I was aiming for, this kind of length, or width, weight, whatever. And then there were times it got to be like that thin. That's like a spider web. I'm pretty sure if I pull too hard, it's going to snap. It's just a 2-ply. I still haven't done a 3-ply, but it's coming. I'm looking at another wheel, which I said I would never do, but here we are. So anyways, there's that. It was a lot of fun, very informative, and working with this has definitely influenced my newer spins that I've done. So yeah, not much to say about the Ripple Bralette that I haven't already said before. It's not like a super supportive kind of bralette, but I like it for sleeping, and this Rambouillet is definitely like soft enough that even though it's 100% non-superwash wool, it is so soft it does not bother any parts. I have slept in it once, but I do think I'm gonna lengthen out those straps. So there's that. And that's it for the Jessie Maed show, I think. Yes. Alright, so for whips, I have 3. And they're all really not, I haven't made a whole lot of progress with them. Mainly because, yeah, they're just like not super fun to work on. That sounds bad, but all right, let's start with the one that I'm the most concerned about. So this is, not that you can tell, still made with the drop saffron, same as what I'm wearing. I tend to buy this color because I really love this color, but I don't wear this color. And this is the 3rd time I've done this. Katie. This is the 3rd time I've bought this color, and then like I make something and I make something really nice out of it, and then I'm like, I don't wear this color. I gotta stop doing that. But I'm determined to wear this. It will look good with khaki, and it will also look good with like white capris. So I have an outfit planned. But anyways, this is the back of the Joni tee by Natasha Hornsby. Moonstruck Knits, I think, is her pattern design name. Yeah, so here's the thing about this pattern. It pretty specifically says that it is a seamless top-down top t-shirt. And as you'll notice, this is all worked flat. This is 8 inches almost of flat knitting. And I was a little bit annoyed by that because I was like, in my mind, a seamless top-down sweater is like You start with the neck hole, you work out till you get to the arms, you put the armholes on hold, and then you knit the body. No, not the case. So I'm almost at a point where I have, this is the back panel, which her patterns. Oh, her patterns. So she makes beautiful stuff, like stunningly, amazingly beautiful patterns. However, I have made the Lune shawl twice. And after I made it the first time, I swore I would never make it again. So I made it again for somebody for Christmas. And then I really, really swore I'd never make it again because I've learned to just trust what she says, even though my brain is like, that's not going to work right. Why are we doing this? And I find that sometimes to achieve the spectacular level of awesome stuff that she makes, it's very finicky. It's very, you got to pay attention line by line what she's saying, and if you don't do what she says, then it's gonna bite you in the butt later. Even if you think, surely it won't, I can just fix it. You can't, or I can't. Let's put it that way. So I really struggled at the beginning of this because of the way she has the shoulder shaping done and how they're cast on versus like the neck pickups, to the point that I was almost like, this doesn't make sense. It's not going to work. I'm going to have to rip this back out. But thank goodness I didn't, because she was right and I was wrong, obviously, because she made the pattern. It was just really weird in my brain how she had it written and how it's constructed. So basically at this point, I have made 2 shoulders, which you do separately. Then you pick up for this neckband in the middle, and then you knit flat straight down. And this is the depth of your armhole, which is going to be plenty, I think. And then you cut your yarn. And then, seamlessly knit, you then come around to your shoulders and you pick up for your shoulders, and then you're going to knit your front panel down for one side. Come over here, pick up with a separate ball of yarn, knit that front panel down, and then join in the middle to have now created this kind of like up and over the shoulder kind of deal. That is not seamless to me. This is all very finicky and annoying. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, I kind of wondered how she was going to do the whole front is what one big lace panel, and I wondered, it being a seamless top-down top, that, you know, how is that going to work out? And it's not bad, and I'm really complaining for no reason. It's just more like, it's not what I expected kind of going into it, you know? And I like to balance my projects with like an easy one I have to concentrate on, and then, you know, a third, whatever. I generally try to keep it to 3. And this was supposed to be kind of my in the middle project. Like, I knew I was going to have to concentrate for the lace panel, but for the rest of it, it should just be knitting in the round, right? That's not. So, once I get through the yoke, it'll be fine. Because after you do the front yoke, and you start your lace panel, then you attach for the underarms, and then it is in the round. So yeah, I just gotta get there. It's just been a little finicky and annoying, and I've not wanted to work on this, and so I really haven't done much with it. But I am at the point where I need to cut my yarn and start working on the front. So there's that. It does have an all-over ridged pattern. I do know that the beginning ridges don't match the rest of my ridges because I can't count. You're supposed to have so many rows in between. It looks like a 10-row repeat, I think. And I was doing 8, so whoopsie doodles. It's fine. I'm not that worried about it. It's on the back shoulder. Nobody's gonna notice but me. So there's that. I'm a little annoyed by this whole pattern situation. Like I said, it's not bad. It's not bad, and I know I should have known. I should have just known. I should have just expected it going into a Natasha Hornsby pattern. And it is going to be beautiful when it's done. And I'm really upset if I get to the end and then I'm like, I don't like this color on me. I'm going to be really mad with myself, but breaking out of comfort zones is like the key this summer, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to wear it. Period. Yeah, so that's what little bit I've done on my Joni tee. I should work on this tonight, but so yeah, there's that. Yeah. So next, I am working on another t-shirt. Has a lot of balls of yarn. Again, not very much progress made on this one either. I look at this, I'm like, what have I been doing the last 3 weeks? Oh yeah, crazy dog stuff, and it's just been a stressful couple weeks. So knitting has been a treat at the end of the night if I have time. But anyways, this is the beginnings of a Vellichor tee. I have tried to make this t-shirt twice before in the past, and twice before I've ripped it out. But I think this is a winner. So I'm using Hobby cotton, 100% cotton. I think Mayfair yarn. I think I bought this last year. Yes, last year for this shirt. Made it, hated it, ripped it out. It has also become a Friday tee that I did not like, ripped out. And so now I think it's found its forever home in the Vellichor, because I am envisioning this under bibs, and it's going to be really cute. But this is another bottom up drop shoulder sweater construction. It's oversized. I did make gauge, and I have made a pretty significant change. So the way that she has the pattern written, all of this is supposed to be garter bumps. And I did a lot. I did like this much work, like up to here, before I realized that I just really did not like the way that looked. I feel like when it's all garter versus like I have the white and I'm leaving a stockinette, so that I have kind of like it's like a pop, more of a, words. I'm leaving the white in between as stockinette so that it kind of pops these contrast color bumps out a little bit more, and I feel like it makes it look a lot less crowded, because it was just, there's a lot going on, because you've got these twisted stitch columns plus all that, stockinette, or technically I guess it's reverse stockinette. Anyways, it was just too much. So I, instead of ripping it out and having to try to pick up 300 plus stitches, I instead went stitch by stitch, and I dropped down, I think I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 rows. I had to drop down 9 rows and then crochet back up to achieve the desired look. So some of my early stitches are a little wonky because of that. I did better in some areas than I did in others, but I think for the most part you really can't tell that like the first 3 contrast rows had to be reworked. So yeah. The yarn, other than the cotton Mayfair, is my hand spun again. Very proud of this one. Yay. So this is a 100% merino from Hearthside Fibers. I'm pretty sure it was done up in a bat. It's another 2-ply. I did get a good fingering weight out of it. I think it's very pretty. I like these colors. And the contrast color, so you do 5 lines of your main contrast and then 1 line of your second contrast, and so that is more hand spun. That happens to look like, I think Salty Dog is the one it is that I'm thinking of from Spin Cycle Yarns. But I did this myself. I didn't dye it, so it's not, like I did it myself, but I did half of it myself. I love the way that this came out. I think this is so stunningly gorgeous. This is a hand-dyed braid. I can't remember the name of the lady that dyed it. I picked it up at the very small wool festival that we had in my town a couple months ago, and I spun it up almost immediately, and I love it. And I think this is my only barber poled yarn that I've done. Most everything that I've spun, actually these might be my only 2 color spins, to be honest with you. Everything else has been natural undyed fibers, or fiber that I've attempted to dye myself, which we all know how that goes. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. So every 5th row I'll have this pop of blue, yellow, brown color, and I think it's going to be really nice. So far it's going good. This has become my mindless knit because I've eliminated that extra row of purling. It was knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, 300 and some stitches every single round. Plus you have to twist the ridge stitch. Anyways, this has now become my mindless knit, and this is, I find what I'm picking up to work on more often than not. But yeah, so there's that. Hopefully I'll have it done by next time. Hopefully I'll actually finish this one. This is one of those patterns that, like, I'm kind of sick of trying to knit. Because I try it, I don't like it, I go back, I try it again. So either I just need to come to terms with the fact that I don't like the pattern, or see it through to the end and just go with it. So, last but not least, this has been on my list of things to make forever. Like, really, really long time. Can you guess what it is? This is the Pressed Flowers Shawl by Amy Christoffers. Yeah, this pattern is really weird. Very, very weird. Very weird that you have to go on Ravelry and people are referencing other people's notes, because it's like, it's a simple pattern. It's a triangle shawl. You start at the long edge and you work your way down into that point. But the instructions, I would say, are not very clear, or I'm not reading them well, which, knowing me, could be the case. But seeing how many notes other people have taken, I'm kind of thinking it's not just me. She has part of it written and charted, but most of it's just charted, and I'm fine with just charting, but it doesn't make sense the way she has it done. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I'm reading it wrong, but, so, your flowers, I just started this. Actually, that's false. I just ripped out like 2 inches of it this morning because I was doing the border stitches, which are the border for the point, not for the top. Whoops. Any'll do. So the way that this is made is mosaic knitting. So it's 1 row of one color, 1 row of the next. Well, 2 rows of one color, 2 rows of the next. And so your flowers are done in a stockinette stitch, and everything else is garter. That's not how her charted pattern reads, nor is it how the written pattern reads. The written pattern, like I said, maybe I just need to go through and like really, really laser focus on it, but the written part of the pattern, I'm pretty sure doesn't mention purling at all. Which doesn't make sense, because how are you going to get stockinette? That was one of those things, like I'm looking at the picture, checking other people's notes, and I'm like, okay, sure, alright, whatever. I'm pretty sure I'm right, and, you know, I am. And I also, I don't know. I don't like how it's written. I'm being very critical today. I need to not do that. But at the same time, too, it's like, I don't know. Amy Christoffers is like a big name. I think. A big design name. I mean, it's definitely one I recognize as somebody in the, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, other than it's just like, here's a good example. Okay, Stephen West shawls are over-the-top, crazy. I have one right here for other purposes, but, you know, you're looking at this, and you're like, wow, it's going to be super complicated and difficult, and da-da-da-da-da, and this is so simple, but I would much rather read his patterns than hers, because this took me more time to just figure out what it is she wants me to do than it took me to actually knit what I needed to knit, you know? Because once you're in it, this is not hard. This is very simple. The chart is simple. It's just a triangle shawl. That's simple. It's not rocket science. This feels more like rocket science to me. But his stuff is so much simpler to read. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've never had another Amy Christoffers thing. Maybe it's just how she writes patterns. I don't know. And I'm sure that there's plenty of people that absolutely love how it's written. Or maybe, you know, it's just like how your brain's wired. I don't know. But anyways, that having been said, yes, I have started this, and I do love it. And this has been on my want list for a really, really long time. And I was torn between, I was going to buy some yarn for the main color. I really wanted a dark green, like a foresty kind of green color. And then I wanted something either natural or speckled for the contrast. But I went to my local yarn store and I found some West Yorkshire spinners, BFL, on clearance for $7 for 100 grams. I was like, well, heck yeah. So I got 2 of these, because that's all I had. BFL is my favorite fiber to work with for spinning. So I spun up some BFL natural, undyed, whatever. This is from Donna's Sheepshed on Etsy. Yeah, I bought this same type of wool at Rhinebeck last year, and I just, actually I have some of it here. This is one of my earlier spins, which, you know, not too bad. This, I find that, like, I can do a fingering weight, because it's mainly what I've practiced pretty easily and consistently. This calls for a DK weight, so this was a little harder for me to get DK, and I really think it kind of borders more on worsted, but I'm not telling anybody if you don't tell anybody. And I think it looks pretty good. It is a little tight. I will say I did go up to a size 8, US 8 needle. She calls for a 6. I saw that a couple other people had done the same thing. But as far as like how my hand spun plays with this West Yorkshire Spinners DK, I think it's fine. This is making a very woolly, very nicely textured fabric. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I think it's going to be gorgeous. And I like the kind of subtle grays and browns you get in with the cream. And yes, I'm very pleased with this so far. Just kind of wish I hadn't, you know, had to rip out 2 inches of it this morning. Whoops. But that's okay. It's going to be gorgeous, love. I really like the cardigan that she has, but I don't think I'm up for trying to read her pattern for a cardigan if a flat shawl is hard enough for me. So let's just not go that route. Those are my whips. That's all I got. Now to the acquisition section. My biggest acquisition. Oh, Vellichor Maker's Bag. Woo! Which has scratches on it from my dumb dog. It also said dumb dog's hair. But this is an awesome bag. I love backpacks. I think I would probably just carry a backpack as my purse if it didn't get me some strange looks around here. It's really funny, like a couple years ago we went out west and everybody has backpacks. And I came home and I tried to just wear the backpack I took out there around here, and I got a lot of looks like, what are you stealing that you stuffed into that backpack? It's gotten better. Probably this year I've noticed that more and more people are wearing them. Just, this was a little bit big, honestly, but it's going to be my Rhinebeck bag. I'm very pleased with the quality of this. It was not cheap. This is $125, but it's waxed canvas, which again, you know, it's made to show kind of like this weathered look, and I do like that. I just really wish Daisy would stop scratching it. I don't know why she does. Probably because it's at my feet and I'm paying more attention to my knitting than her. Whatever. But the leather is fantastic. The inside of this bag, also fantastic. I don't really know what this fabric is, but it feels almost like velvety, but it's not. The zipper quality is super good. There's a ton of compartments in here. I'm not sure I can really show it, and I'm sure that the sound on this is outrageously gross, but oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, there's snaps on the front too. Woo! And I think this is also going to be my new travel bag because it has a built-in yarn cutter right there. And that is my biggest pet peeve, getting on a plane. You can't take scissors. So, you know, I don't think they're going to fuss too much about that. It's got a yarn. You're supposed to like thread your yarn through that and it keeps it from getting tangled. It's got a spot for your laptop. It's got a bunch of little, you know, little pockets, pen holders. It's got this random compartment in the back where you can like stuff you don't want people to, I guess, pickpocket from you. Stitch markers. My other backpack, one of my main complaints about it is that the water bottle holder will not fit my 20-ounce water bottle, which I don't think is that big. So this one does fit. It's great. It's got handles, also great. And it's got a strap so you can fit it over top of your suitcase in the airport. Even better. And these are nice and padded and comfortable, and I love it. I will say I can't fit as much. You can fit plenty of yarn in this. I mean, plenty. But I took it to the lake last weekend, or the weekend before last, and I had my 3 balls for the Vellichor, plus, you know, my overnight clothes, my pajamas, odds and end things, and I could easily fit a sweater's quantity worth of yarn in one night stay in it. Just, you know, I have other non-maker backpacks that I can shove far more into, but they also don't have as much like storage pockets, which I appreciate being a little bit more organized. So that's my review of that. I love it. This is not sponsored. I paid for it, but I do love it. I've been eyeballing them for a while, and I think they only had black in stock when I like finally decided I was gonna pull the trigger and just buy it, and I did not want black. So I signed up for their text alerts, and I was like in the middle of making dinner, and I got the text that they had the olive color, and I just threw the spoon down, and I was like, husband, man the oven! And I had to run off and pre-order my bag. I don't think they would have sold out that fast, but I was not missing it. So very happy that I have that. I do love it very much. So that's that. My other acquisitions are all yarn. Yay! Magpie Knits in Charlottesville. It's not all from there, but I just happen to have this bag. So my BFL for the Pressed Flowers came from there. They have a lovely back section. If you ever go to Charlottesville, it's in the downtown mall, which is super cute. Nice to walk. I really hate that people think Charlottesville, and then they're like, oh, isn't that where like the KKK march was? I'm like, yes, but it's not usually like that. That was like a one-off wacko situation. We're not like that here. But in the very back of Magpie Knits, they have a whole section that's all 50% off. And I love it. And you never know what's going to be in there, so I always check it when I'm in Charlottesville, which is like 45 minutes away from my home, so it's not that often, but my sister lives there now, so I have more of an excuse. So these are Juniper Moon Farm Harriet Fine non-mulesed, gross dog, non-mulesed, how do you say that word? Baby alpaca blended with nylon for durability. So 75% baby alpaca, 25% polyamide, super fine. I wish that you could just like reach through the camera and touch this. It's so soft. Like, look, it's all floppy because it's so drapey. I don't know what I'm going to use this for. It's probably going to go into a shawl. They only had 2 skeins, so I bought both, but it is unbelievably soft. And it's got a very slight halo fuzz on it. I really like this color. So I have a bad habit of going in there and just like, because a lot of it's, you know, they don't necessarily have a whole sweater's quantity worth of yarn, but they'll have like 2-3 skeins of whatever. So I buy them and then go, don't know what you will be, but usually they end up in a Steve & West shawl. I've made quite a few Steve & West shawls just off of my one-off stash finds, so probably that's what it'll be. But, and then this one, oh, I didn't realize that this is the same type of yarn, but this is just a different color, and it is gorgeous. It's got like kind of green, blue, dark blue, aqua, teal, whatever color you want to call that. So yes, no clue what I'm making with these, but I bought them and I love them. And the only other yarn that I've bought, I don't want to put this one forward. Palette is on sale from We Crochet. It's buy it from crochet.com to get the sale price. So it's already a super affordable yarn. If you've been around for a while, you know I love it. This, I brought this up to use this as an example. This is made almost entirely of palette yarn. The only thing it's not palette is this red color, which is Malabrigo, because the color I had ordered did not look good with the other colors I had in this palette. Huh, get it? Palette. Anyways, it didn't look good, so I had to like ditch it. I originally had this, I'm not sure you're even able to see it, this green I had to ditch because it was too close to this green. Yeah, anyways, long story short, so this required 4 colors of yarn, at least 400 grams, possibly more of one color versus the other. I can't remember. I think this is Shawlography. Don't quote me on that. Anywho, the yarn cost for this was less than $20 because you can get palette and it's so cheap. So, reason I like palette, it is a 2-ply 100% wool yarn. You can get it from Knit Picks or from We Crochet. They're the same company. We Crochet ships for free at a lower threshold, so I always go with them if I can. Plus, now, instead of having like random sales, they have a yarn of the month, and each Knit Picks and crochet.com each have different yarns every month. So this was 20% off, plus you can get a I guess it's like a value pack or whatever of certain types of their yarn, and this is one of them. If you buy 10, you get a discount, and I can't remember how much the discount is. But in any case, without being on sale, these are between $3.50 and $4.50 per 50-gram ball, and you can't beat that, especially for 100% wool. And it's not scratchy, and I have made quite a few shawls out of this, and I find that it has very good drape. Because, you know, these are things that you kind of worry about, like, why is it so cheap, right? Is it going to be gross? Is it going to feel gross? Is it going to fall apart? I don't know. You know, it is a 2-ply, so I bought a sweater's quantity worth of yarn because it's on sale, and I will be very interested to see how it holds up in a sweater. But so far in all of my shawls, it has done super, super well. I can't recommend it enough. So like I said, it's on sale for June, so if you want to go snag some, you should go do that. They have like 50 colors, I think. There's way too many to choose from, and then I inevitably buy a color that I thought was going to be one way, and it ended up not being. I have a whole bin already of palette yarn, so you would think I would stop buying it, but oops. Anyway, so this is from the bin. I already had this, but brought it out for a different reason. So my sweater's quantity is for a Talvinin sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And the way that that's made is fingering weight, very long sweater, and it's got birds on the yoke plus like some plants and like little, I don't know which one, other details on it. So this is going to be the main color, and I think this is going to be the bird color. And then for the plants, I bought this color. She's real orange. I don't think I want a pop of that color orange. So this is my stash yarn. This is turmeric is the color. I think that's going to look a lot better. There's a little bit of green in this color, or yellow in this color anyways, so I think that's going to play a little bit better. And like I said, I have plenty of this because I used it in this, and I used it in that Lune shawl that I struggled with last Christmas, so I have plenty. But, so I bought these. I have like a whole bag full, but I didn't really bring them all out. And then, speaking of the Lune shawl and Natasha Hornsby, I'm making another Natasha Hornsby shawl. What is the name of that one? I'm going to have to look it up because I can't remember. I bought a ton of her patterns. She had a sale last summer, I guess. And I bought a bunch, and I think of those, yeah, of the bunch that I bought, the only thing I've made is that Lune shawl, which made me want to rip my hair out. So yeah, I have the Lune shawl, I have the Corbis sweater, the Dion sweater, the Letho cardigan, and I have not touched any of those because I'm kind of honestly scared to. But this is going to be the Yara shawl, which is stunning and beautiful. It's definitely going to make me rip some hairs for sure. But I think I'm going to use this. So this and this will be the two main colors. It's a mosaic shawl. Yeah, it's a mosaic shawl, and generally the way she makes her shawls, you start at one end, work your way kind of out this direction, and then you taper back down to a point. So instead of working like a top-down triangle shawl, you go from one small point to the widest point to a small point. Generally is how she does hers. So I'm pretty sure that's how these are going to go, which is interesting. I need a challenge, right? Tell yourself this. You need a challenge. You can't grow if you don't challenge yourself. I'm scared. But anyway, so there's a couple lines of like a pop of color, and I think I'm going to try this and see how I feel about it. It's very Halloween-y, and I'm not against that because Halloween is my jam. If you could see this room right now, it's, you know, June, and there's a boo sign over there, there's a spooky sign over there, there's a Halloween doormat. Halloween lives all year round here, so I think I'm going to be fine with that. This does kind of look pumpkin-y, doesn't it? I think they called it sweet potato. Yeah, they lied. It's kind of sweet potato-y. Anyway, that's where I'm at with that. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna cast this on next. I have yarn for a Soldotna crop by Caitlin Hunter that I started last summer. Yeah, started that last summer, and I got like all the way through the yoke before I realized that I never bothered with gauge. And it's color work all over, so my gauge is always smaller with my color work. I'm going to have to go up at least 2 needle sizes to get that to fit right. But that having been said, I ripped it all out and I have it all sitting in like a project bag ready to go. So I think that might be my next cast on, just because it's summer, you know, and I'd like to be able to wear that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I've also been sewing a lot lately, which is so weird for me. I've almost finished my first dress. It's the Hinterland by Sew Liberated. I think all that I have left to do is to add the skirt to the bodice and then put on buttons. The dreaded buttons. I hate buttons. So once that's done, I will have a cute little dress and put my sweaters over this fall. Yeah, I think that's it. So, you know, do a little bit of a life update here at the end, because why not, right? So, last couple weeks have been very hectic. Gosh, I don't know why I scheduled so much stuff for the first 2 weeks of June, but I had 7 or 8 separate dinners with different people at book club. Went to the lake for my girlfriend's birthday, and while we were down there, my parents have pilgrim geese and buff geese. Plus, they have a pond, so they get Canadian geese that will fly in, have their babies in the spring, raise them through the summer, and then they fly away in the fall. It's very cute, but they poop a lot. So that means at any given time, there's generally 10 to 20 geese just kind of roaming around on my parents' property. So this is the first year that the pilgrim geese that have been there for like 5 years. So maybe it's not the first year. Maybe I lied. This might be the second batch. The second batch of babies we've had. And it was a big batch of babies. There were 13 babies born. And it was really funny because, you know, they had the one mom that was sitting on the nest, and as soon as those little peeps started happening, all the other geese came in, just kind of rounded them up, took them off. And so now you got this like circle of angry mama geese around these little teeny fluff balls. But one of the baby goose goslings, one of the goslings was born blind. So he makes it out of the egg. He kind of tumbles out into the yard, and mama geese come in and they round up all the babies and they all just trot off, and this poor little thing can't figure out where they are. So he's just peeping and peeping and crying and peeping and just kind of stumbling around because he can't see where he's going. And it was the most heartbreaking thing ever. And my dad's a little bit more farm-minded than my mom and my sister and I. So he's like, I'm just going to take care of it. And of course my mom's like, you will not! So she goes out, scoops up the little baby goose, puts him in we used to have guinea pigs growing up, so they have a bunch of guinea pig cages, puts him in a little cage, and she's like, well, you know, what are we going to do about this goose? His eyes were shut, and they kind of didn't think he had eyes at all. But after 4 or 5 days, they finally started to open up, but they're like really milky, so he's definitely blind. But they took him, so when they go to the lake, they tend to stay for a few days because they were tired. So they pack their dogs up. They have a random guinea pig that my sister brought home and then didn't take with her when she moved, which, whatever, they call it their grand pig. So they pack up the guinea pig, and then they also have to pack up this blind goose. So we go to the lake, and he was just so pitiful. He didn't like being alone, and he was scared, and, you know, noises scared him really bad. So you would talk to him for a little bit, and then he would kind of warm up, and he'd want to come and like cuddle in the warmth of your hands and stuff. So I took him for his first swim. I took him out to the lake, and the water was really high that day. So put him down just in the wet, and he can eat fine. And he was, you know, nomming around down the roots and stuff, and he was so cute, but he can't swim. Like, I have a video. I'll put it in here. It was cute, but also extremely sad. So he would get out to where it's deep enough that his little feet couldn't touch. And then I guess he would just like lean too much one way, and he'd start spinning in circles. And then the more frantic he got, the faster he'd spin. And then he'd just beep, 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 beep. And you have to kind of pick him up, push him back to shore, and then he'd be fine. So we spent quite a lot of time. He'd get all tired out and take a nap, and we'd take him back out, and it was a lot of fun, but it's not exactly viable for him to stay with my parents. So we found it's kind of a bird rescue, but it's not technically a bird rescue. it's just this guy that lives like up in the mountains on a farm, and the local vet was like, yeah, I mean, he tends to take in birds that won't make it, and he just, he sells their eggs if they have eggs, or else they just kind of hang out on his farm. So he has like peacocks and a bunch of different geese and ducks and sheep and llama, and just kind of, Mom described it as like Dr. Doolittle's farm. So that's where the little blind goose lives. But that was it was very sad. And of course my dogs got into a really nasty fight. Anybody that tells you that dog violence is breed specific is wrong. I don't know how many times I've had to hear people say, I have a pit collie mix. People say, oh, you gotta watch out, that pit bull blood. I don't believe that. We grew up with Rottweilers. We grew up with pit bulls. The pit mix is the one with the itchy skin, so she's, get on my nerves that way, but that's it. She's always been the nicest dog. Loves kids, loves people, loves other animals. My golden retriever is the one that has torn out my other dog, and she's done it a couple times, but normally, like, we can catch her when she starts to kind of, like, ramp up, and she always goes after the same little dog, which I know that's how it goes, but it hasn't been bad until this time, and it's really bad. She had to have 14 staples put in. It happened while we were gone. I was at dinner for my book club, and I came home, and I was like, it's kind of weird that the dog's hiding, because she's not the bravest little dog ever, but usually she'll come, like, greet me at the door. She is so torn up. She's now licking the floor. Bailey, stop doing that. Bailey. Anywho, so yeah, the golden retriever, evidently, my husband was at dinner, I was at dinner, they got into it somehow. They usually stay clear of each other pretty well. And like I said, she picks on the little dog, but not terrible, not a whole lot. So clearly now they have to be separated all the time, and if I'm not home, the little one has to be locked away. So, for her own safety. She hates it, but yeah, her back end has a hole in it that's like, it's so deep that they keep saying, like, it's probably going to get infected and you're really going to have to watch it. I mean, it's deep enough I could stick that much of my finger in it, probably. I guess she's still getting around fine, though. So, I don't know. There's the gruesome details of that. It's been a stressful couple weeks. I hope you guys are doing better than that. Thanks for listening to me ramble, as always. Oh, this is a 3-day weekend. I'm super, super grateful for it. I don't know what I'm going to go knit on now. I need to get some of the stuff off my needles. It's not really bringing me joy, That Joni top's really getting on my nerves. I should work on that. If ever you make that face when you're talking about your knitting, it's probably not good. But anyways, thanks for joining me, guys. Hopefully I'll be back in another 2 weeks. Hopefully you're not too annoyed by listening to Daisy bark for the last 5 minutes of this video. Yeah, have a fantastic day. Go do something fun. I will see you guys very, very soon. And thanks for watching.